Hello. So, Holby said I had to start with a cockroach story. So last night we were getting ready for bed, and Holby was
Mostly asleep.
Yeah, mostly asleep, and I was working on some things for school. I was drawing leaves and then going back over them with a Sharpie. And anyways, I just happened to look up and saw a cockroach on the floor, and then all of a sudden it disappeared and I had no idea where it went. And so I freaked out a little bit inside, and I was like, Holby, we have a cockroach. She goes, ew. And then that was the extent of that. And then I was like watching to see where it went, and I couldn't find it. I was like, Holby, I don't know where it went. What do I do? I don't remember exactly what she said, but like find it and kill it or something to the extent of that. Well, then I saw it climbing up the wall over by my bed, and I'm sitting there like this, like scared out of my mind. It's crawling up, and it crawls onto the cabinet in the back, if you can see that. And our food was in there. So Holby was like, did not want the cockroach going in there. So she jumps over onto my bed, shuts the cabinet as I walk over here by the bathroom door, and she watches it as it comes down or whatever, and it disappeared again, and she's like, you might want to put shoes on. Okay. So I put shoes on, and then all of a sudden she's like, it's over by your feet or by the head of the bed or whatever, the end of the bed. And so I found it, and she was like, just step on it. And it was right against the edge of the bed, so it would have been awkward to step on it anyways, but I also really did not want to because the crunch and that'd just be gross. So I picked up Holby's sandal and I threw it at the cockroach while it was over in this area.
By my bed.
Yeah. And I hit it pretty hard, and I thought it was good, and Holby's like, did you get it? I was like, I think so. We waited for about 10 more seconds, and then it moved. It scared the living crap out of me. I screamed. And so Holby judged me. But she got her 2 flip-flops and then ended up pinching it with them, and we were able to throw it out the window.
But it grabbed my flip-flop. That was really gross. That was nasty.
Then later that night, I had finally finished all my stuff and was going to bed. And of course I was making a Facebook post about it. But I was facing towards that wall and had my phone up like this. And Holby was facing towards that wall also. Then all of a sudden she's like, I got it. And I was like, what? Because at first I didn't hear because I had headphones in. So I took the headphones out and I was like, what? And she said it again. And too quietly, so I leaned over and I was like, what? She's like, I said I got it. I was like, okay. And then I rolled back over and went to bed. And this morning I asked her, I was like, do you remember this? And she's like, no. Like, okay, so you're definitely sleep talking. I thought you were reading over my shoulder, looking at my Facebook post.
No, I was dreaming about cockroaches. And so it was all night. I was having dreams about cockroaches, and at one point, I didn't wake myself up talking, but I woke myself up looking for this cockroach. And so I turn on the light that's by my bed, and I'm watching the floor for 15 seconds while I'm still kind of waking up, but I'm still it's somewhere. No, there is no cockroach.
And then I was coming up the stairs tonight, I don't know, about an hour ago or so. There's a dead cockroach in front of our door. So it was dead, so I kicked it down the hallway a little bit. And then I went back downstairs. Was down there for 30 minutes-ish. Then came back upstairs, and it's back in front of our door. So that's a little weird. But yeah, then there was also one on the steps coming up. I don't like this game.
Yeah, Yeah, it's been a good couple of days for cockroaches. And we found out that a couple of not our rooms, but our people's rooms had bed bugs.
Yeah.
So they all traded rooms, and fortunately we escaped that. We don't have bed bugs. Probably because of the cockroach that we killed, so we'll see what happens. But, so this morning, we got up, went downstairs, and we were getting ready for breakfast, and Nikki told us that we weren't going to school today because there was an education strike, a teacher strike. And so our school was closed. But we got to go to the other school and just spend the day there, which the original plan was for them to come to our school today for 15 minutes or so, and then tomorrow we would go to their school for about 45 minutes because we have a little bit more flexibility in our schedule. And so that was the original plan, but since we didn't have school, we just went to Orchid Garden all day. Excuse me. And it was definitely different from our school, like substantially different from our school. Okay. So we got there a little late. But we got there at the end of like the playtime in the morning, and then they do a morning assembly where they do some exercises. They weren't really exercises; they just were arm motions. And then they sang some songs, and they do that for about half an hour, and then they split up into the classrooms. So we were told to just go into one of 3 classrooms. And so I ended up with the 3 4-year-olds, 4 or 5-year-olds. 3 and 4-year-olds, I think. Maybe 4 and 5, I don't know. Some of the older kids, but not the oldest kids. And of course, I get in there and the teacher says, well, today's Nepali Day. So they started with Nepali oral, and then they did Nepali writing. So I was completely useless this whole time. Hour and a half of my life was just spent kind of awkwardly sitting, not understanding a word that they were saying. So just kind of observing and watching what the teacher did and what the kids did. Which was interesting. It was very different from mother care, which is very structured, and I don't know if strict is the right word, but it's a little more strict, whereas here it felt very chaotic. And loud. Oh my goodness. And I guess I was in a very difficult classroom. But they're so loud. Like the teacher would not yell, but speak very loudly to ask a question, and then the kids would respond by yelling, and so then they'd be yelling to talk, and the teacher would yell to talk over them. So that was really overwhelming, actually. It was not a fun morning, purely because it was so loud and chaotic. But I mean, the school was neat. The kids were cool. Food was good. I ate, so lunch was rice and dal, and I think that's what they eat every day.
Yeah.
Whereas we have different meals every day, but the same meal every day on the same days.
So every Monday we have the same thing. Every Tuesday we have the same thing.
But Monday
and
Tuesday
Tuesday is different. Yeah.
And so it's very common for people to eat with their hand here, right hand only. You don't use your left. And so I was getting food because I was super hungry, and I sat in there and didn't see any spoons, and like didn't want to go ask because I didn't want to like intrude. So I ate with my hand, and it was interesting because it was rice and dal, which is lentil soup. So I ate soup with my fingers. So that was an adventure. And then went back into the classroom, and I got to lead the math lesson. And so what the kids do is they spell the numbers, say the number, and then I think eventually they write them down, but I'm not sure. But so, like, I did So they do ONE1, and then the kids repeat it. And so I was helping, my teacher's daughter was there, because school was canceled for her too. So I was kind of helping her, because the kids were getting kind of rowdy. And so she would do it the first time, and then I would say it a little bit louder, so that the kids could hear all the letters and everything. And so the teacher had me get up and do it, and I did it like 3 times. And so that was kind of cool to get to do. And then I finished, and she said, "Okay, thank you, ma'am. You sit." Okay. So I sat there, and then the bus came, and we went to the Palace Museum. But you want to tell your school day first?
So I was with the toddlers, just like mother care. Just because that was the last room. So I got in there, and they were in a big old circle, and they were singing songs. And I knew a couple of the songs, like they sang "Ba Ba Black Sheep," and then they sang another song that I knew. But I didn't know the majority of them, so I just kind of sat there, like, shaking a little bit and just trying to make myself useful somehow. But the teacher didn't say anything to me. She just watched me walk in and then just went back to singing. And then after that, after they were done singing, the teacher passed out Play-Doh. And it sounds like some of the other classes got to do Play-Doh too. But the teacher handed out Play-Doh to all the kids. She didn't give me any, but one of the kids like dropped their Play-Doh or something, and so just out of habit I picked it up and went like this, and so it like made it narrow. And then after that, all the kids started bringing me their Play-Doh for me to do that. And so that was like, I don't know, a good 30 minutes or so. And then the teacher just kind of walked out of the room for like 5 minutes, and I didn't know when she was coming back, but like she came back, and then she made everyone put their Play-Doh away, and then she got a bucket full of toys, and then she made the kids partner up, and so she would sit 2 kids facing each other all around the room, and that was their partner to play with. And so she handed out toys, and she told me, "Sit, play," and then just like pointed to 2 kids, because I don't think she speaks very good English, but I think she speaks more English than the other teachers. I could be wrong, but just like listening to the teachers talking at the assembly, I got that vibe. But so she had all the kids playing, and they had these toys that you can connect together. I have no idea what they're called, but anyways, I was helping one of the kids connect them together. I guess all the other kids were watching me, because then after that, all the kids came to me to connect their toys together, and then it just got way chaotic. And I don't know, we were playing for a really long time, it felt like. I don't know exactly how long. But, so that lasted a while, and then they went to lunch, and then after lunch, they took a nap. And I didn't really have a whole lot to eat. I had a little bit of rice with the doll, but yeah, that's my day.
Yeah. And so there's a palace here, a royal palace, that has been turned into a museum because in 2001, the crowned prince massacred 7 people, 9 family members in the home. Not in the palace, but in the home they live in behind it, before shooting himself in the head, and then he died from a coma 3 days later. He was crowned king during that coma. And there are a whole bunch of conspiracy theories around it and stuff. It's super, super exciting because I'm that nerd. But so a few of us have been wanting to go check it out, and it's on the way home. It was a 5-minute walk when we left. And so we got dropped off there. There were 5 of us. The 2 of us, Brad, Chansey, and Taylor. And so it was 500 rupees to get in, which is $5 for foreigners. It was 100 rupees for natives, which, bummer. But, and then we had to leave all of our stuff in a locker. And so we couldn't take pictures, which was unfortunate. But it was massive. And we only saw maybe a quarter of the whole castle. Most of what we saw were like the rooms for the visiting dignitaries, which were monstrous. I can't even explain the size of this castle. It was a castle. It wasn't even just a palace. It was a castle. And they had 6 tiger skins, a monstrous bear skin. Like, I know bears are big, but I've seen grizzly bear hides, and this was not a grizzly bear. Or if it was,
I don't think it was. I don't know what kind
huge.
of bear it was, but
I don't know. It was, like, almost polar bear size. I think it was probably bigger than a freaking polar bear. It was monstrous. Right in the main entrance. 6 tigers. 2 that were stuffed and posed, and 4 that were rugs. They had a cheetah, a leopard, 2 black rhinos, elephant tusks, and a ton of stools. I think they were stools. I don't know if they were like sit on or put your feet on, made of elephant and black rhino feet. At least the 2 rhinos worth. So at least 8 rhino feet and 2 or 3 elephants. It was ridiculous. There were a ton of feet, and it was cool because it's historical, but it would be a lot cooler if elephants weren't treated so poorly here and endangered, and black rhinos weren't extinct. But so that was neat, and it was just a monstrous building.
we got to see the garden.
Which was
garden,
monstrous too.
It was gorgeous though.
Oh, it was so pretty. I'd hate to be the gardener.
Yeah.
But we also got to see where the family was massacred. There was like a huge billiard room with a pool table, like twice the size of a regular. It was huge pool table. Would not fit in any house I think I've ever been in my life. It was ridiculous. And so that's where the king was shot, and 5 other family members. And then the queen was shot on the stairs. One of the princes was shot in the garden. And you could see like the bullet holes in the walls. And so it was really morbid and solemn and eerie. It was very eerie. And all this happened in 2001, June 1st, actually. June 1st, 2001. So not very long ago, all things considered. I guess that was 17 years ago. Jesus. Wow, okay. It was a very cool experience, and if anyone's ever in Nepal for any reason, I would recommend going. It was very cool. I wish we could have taken photos. It was awesome. Like, it was...
There was a dining room that was, like, I don't even
school
know.
Cafeteria long.
Yeah, like, freaking crazy.
Oh, it was gorgeous. I need that lifestyle, minus the death.
Yeah.
It was just phenomenal. And like I said, we only got to see like a 16th of it, because the rest of it was cordoned off. And so that was kind of a bummer. I would have liked to tour the whole castle, like everything, like the bathrooms. I wonder what their bathrooms look like, which is ridiculous, but
I can just imagine the size of the tubs.
oh my gosh, yes. With big claw feet, yes. No, it was just incredible. And so we walked home when we finished. It was like a 5-minute walk. It was nothing. Although I guess Chancey and Taylor wanted to get a cab.
Yeah.
And they could have gotten a cab. I was gonna walk. I already paid for a cab. And it would have only been like 200 rupees, but I can walk for that. So, and so we got back to the hotel, hung out for a little bit, went to dinner at a little restaurant called Bamboo. It's just up the road. And it was really funny because Brooke and I have been there once, like a week ago. And we walked in and they said, "Oh, you're back." And so, okay. You remember. Very neat. It was good. What did I get? I got chow mein and a water for 220 rupees. So $2.20, and I got a full plate of chow mein that I couldn't even finish, and a liter of water. Chilled water, even. So it was really cool. It's super cheap, so that's kind of our go-to place for dinner the next few days, just because it is super cheap.
And we came back and we had a meeting with Samara. Just talked about how it went at Orchid Garden and just other critical incidents and just how it's been going and whatnot.
And then hung out in the lobby. I read a book today. A full book. It's not a very long book, but it's called Sold. And it's it's a true story, but it's not like a biography. It's a story based on true events. But it's about a girl, like millions of others, who are sold into the sex trade and trafficked to India. There are brothels in India, and I guess it's still a big problem. They have a pretty strong red light district. But it was about a girl who she turned 13 and was sold into prostitution by her stepfather, who had a gambling problem and was just kind of a scumbag, it sounded like. But so it was her story, and it was very sad, and it was very disturbing, but it was very good. So if anyone wants to read a book, it's called Sold, and I don't remember who it's by, so sorry. But yeah, hung out in the lobby for a little bit. That's about it.
Yeah.
It's been a pretty uneventful day. Just a very long day.
I just praise the Lord that the cockroach on the steps stays there.
But so tomorrow we're back at our school, assuming the strike is over. It sounds like it was only a 1-day thing, which is hysterical to me. We're gonna plan this event, right? And it's a strike, and it's 1 day. You get 1 day. But so we should be back at Mother Care tomorrow. We'll start taking over the classrooms. So we'll see how that goes. A lot of us are kind of weary about that.
I wish that the strike had happened tomorrow and not today, because I had spent all last night making those leaves for today, and the way they run things, I don't think that we're gonna do anything with those leaves now.
Yeah, I have no idea what's gonna happen. I don't know if they're gonna push everything back a day, or if we're just gonna skip Monday completely for activity. I have no idea. No clue. Or if they'll double up the activities.
I feel like they won't do that with my class. I feel like they'll either skip painting or they'll skip the coloring.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Which I hope they skip the painting so I didn't do all that work for nothing.
Yeah, that would be unfortunate.
But anyways, that's really all we've got for tonight. So we'll see you tomorrow night.
Yeah.